Disobedient Disobedience. Parody of Disobedience by A. Milne. Charles Harrison Darrowby Borg Capri looked great in his striped bathers, though he weighed 133. Charles put on his bathers he wore he. He'd never drown, playing the clown, frolicking in the sea. Charles Harrison's bathers were very well renowned. Charles Harrison's bathers were recognised all over town. Charles Harrison's bathers were whispered about, were they? They barely covered his bum and none of his tum. Little to the imagination did they convey. John King put up a notice, lost or stolen or strayed. Charles Harrison's bathers seem to have been mislaid. Last seen slithering slowly, quite of their own accord, down his bum, away from his tum, 40 shillings reward. Charles Harrison, commonly known as Chuck, told his other relations he'd just spend a couple of bucks. Charles bought himself new bathers he bought he. He'd never drown, playing the clown, frolicking by the sea. Charles Harrison's bathers haven't been heard of since. John King said he was sorry, so did Queen and Prince. John King, somebody told me, said to a man he knew, if people wear bathers with loose elastic, well, what can anyone do? Charles Harrison Darrowby Borg Capri looked great in his striped bathers, though he weighed 133. Charles put on his bathers he wore he. He'd never drown, playing the clown, frolicking by the sea.